Trump is clearly in a panic over the midterms, and he should be. But what he shouldn't be doing is making it clear that he's going to do everything he can, both inside and outside of the law and or Constitution, to make the election as irrelevant as possible. So here is what he posted on True Social. The Democrats refuse to vote for voter ID or citizenship. I think he means a citizenship reporting requirement for voting, but he just says citizenship. The reason's very simple. They want to continue to cheat in elections. This was not what our founders desired. This is a great sentence. I have searched the depths of legal arguments not yet articulated or vetted on this subject and will be presenting an irrefutable one in the very near future. So in addition now to him just randomly capitalizing words, why is he randomly now putting in like big old expensive vocabulary words? I feel like he's putting his tweets into ChatGPT and saying, make this sound a little bit less dementia-y. That's what it feels like to me. But anyway, the money shot right here is there will be voter ID for the midterm elections, whether approved by Congress or not. Also, the capital P people of our country are insisting on citizenship and no mail-in ballots, which is not a thing that people have insisted on. First of all, if people insisted on it, then presumably they would elect people that wanted to do that, or they'd say so in a poll. Now, they're not doing any of that stuff. But also, you can't just assert, even if the polls did show it, the president can't just be like, oh yeah, I saw a poll, so now I'm doing a thing. Just me, not my party, which controls the Senate and the House and the Supreme Court. Forget all that stuff about how we have every lever of power. Even with that, that's not enough for me. So I'm just going to unilaterally do it. Now, let's be very clear. He can't, like he literally cannot require the states to require voter ID. If he could do that, it would seem a little bit silly that they've been debating this as a bill for years and years, right? I mean, and all the talk show hosts are talking about it, and the right-wing pundits are like, they're vilifying migrant. Like, why would they have done all that if the president could just do it? Why didn't he do it 6 years ago? I know. Because he can't actually do it. Now, that doesn't mean that he won't do it. He definitely will do it if they don't pass the bill. And we'll get into whether that's likely to happen. And it doesn't also mean that he won't be allowed to do it. It's possible the Supreme Court will allow him to do that. Now, the Supreme Court has not done always the worst possible thing. I don't have Trump derangement syndrome. I can acknowledge that. But they are inclined to give him what he wants. And they definitely don't want the Democrats to take over the House, let alone the Senate. They definitely don't want the Democrats having a check on who gets added on the Supreme Court if, like, Alito, drops out or something like that. So I would be a little bit worried. Now, it would be difficult for them to allow him to do it unilaterally because it's so obviously unconstitutional. But again, I would not rule anything out. He's been on a real tear in this area. I'm not going to read this entire thing because this is literally longer than any fantasy fiction I've written in months. We cannot let the Democrats to get away with no voter ID any longer. Again, it's not the Democrats getting away with it. That's our system, and it always has been. It is literally the system that has elected him to the presidency twice. If the Democrats were using the lack of voter ID to rig the elections, then they would have rigged the elections. I feel like this is the Facebook thing all over again. If you'd invented Facebook, then you would have invented Facebook. So why didn't they cheat then if they're cheaters? And not just cheaters, but horrible, disingenuous cheaters. And then, it's so weird. They have all sorts of reasons why it shouldn't be passed, because it's like discriminatory and it's poll tax and all that. And then boldly laugh in the back rooms after their ridiculous presentations. That is such a bizarre way to say that thought. He really, really cares about the idea that somebody is laughing at him. And he invents fictional scenarios in his mind where they are laughing at him. I believe he is actually triggered by that. He is very scared to be humiliated. He goes on to say, it's even crazier and more ridiculous than men playing in women's sports. That thing that I'm supposed to care about, even though I don't watch sports. Open borders or transgender for everyone. And I really wish that we could just get a follow-up question where someone asks him to say what the hell that's supposed to be. So anyway, he implies that doing all of this is some sort of big win for the Republicans. And were they to just lead with this, every speech that they have, then they would win. Forget all that affordability stuff. Forget Epstein. Forget the international chaos, housing market, cities being invaded. Forget all that stuff. If you just talk constantly about needing voter ID, then you'll win. Well, I have an update for you on that, Trump. They have been talking about that for a very long time. They talk constantly about wanting voter ID, and it doesn't seem to be helping them or you that much in the polls. I mean, you're telling them to do this more because it's a winner. You're doing it, and you have been doing it, and yet your polling continues to go down. So I'm a little bit confused by that. And then he talks a lot about what the Democrats are supposedly going to do. So he says that if we get in power, if the Democrats get in power, they'll not only be adding 2 states to our roster of 50, which they're definitely not going to do. And I don't even know what the 2 are. I mean, Puerto Rico, presumably. But what's the second? You're literally the person talking about making Canada an extra state. You're talking about making Greenland potentially a state. I feel like you're talking about your own plans, and you seem very confused about them. But then they will also pack the court with a total of 21 Supreme Court justices, their dream, which they will submit easily and rapidly when they immediately move to terminate the filibuster, probably in the first week or sooner. How much sooner can you possibly get? Also, yes, that is actually kind of my dream. I mean, maybe a hole in one. But my second dream is 21 Supreme Court justices. Also, why is it 21? Like, you can pack the court way before you get to 21. That's so hyper specific. And the idea, though, setting my dreams aside, as I have become accustomed to doing, the idea that the Democrats are going to do that, Hakeem Jeffries is going to do that. Chuck Schumer, he's going to push for that. Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom. Oh, yeah, no, they're going to pack those justices in there immediately, boldly, and then they're going to laugh about it in the back rooms. No, they're not going to do that.
You know what TYT has always been about? Taking on the corrupt, greedy establishment. For us, it's the corporate media. We've been fighting that fight for over 20 years. For the cell phone industry, it's the same story. A handful of massive corporations ripping you off. That's why we're partnering with Noble Mobile. They're the only wireless company with the same mission as ours, to fight back. Their Noble plan offers unlimited data for just $50 a month. But here's the best part. For any data that you don't use, you get cash back. Real money you can spend however you want. Stop letting your unused data pad the pockets of billionaires. With Noble, you take control over your data. And by switching to Noble, you're directly supporting TYT in our mission of bringing you honest, independent news. So give Noble a try and make the switch today. Scan the QR code on the screen now or visit go.tyt.com/plan. That's go.tyt.com/plan.
And again, like my question about them supposedly rigging the elections and yet letting Donald Trump get elected twice out of 3 tries, if they were so prone to do that, why didn't they do that the last time they had power? Now, sure, Biden didn't control all of Congress or whatever, but he didn't even talk about it. Obama, theoretically, I mean, he controlled both branches, and yet they didn't do that either. So no, they're not going to do that. They should do that. They 100% should do that, but they're not going to do it. In any event, if you're wondering why he is talking so much about this recently, it is actually an indication that he thinks the path of the SAVE Act to get through the Senate is not as smooth as he might have thought it would be. So far, only one Democrat, John Fetterman, has supported these voter ID requirements. By the way, yeah, John Fetterman is going to vote to pack the Supreme Court. That's definitely going to happen. Anyway, and so conservatives are saying that they want to effectively eliminate the filibuster, which Trump is threatening the Democrats are going to do. Some Republicans are talking about it. It doesn't yet seem likely that that's going to happen. John Thune is saying that they're not going to do it. Again, he would theoretically have to worry about the Democrats then being unbounded by the filibuster, which the Republicans don't want the Democrats to be unbounded by the filibuster almost as much as the Democrats don't want to be unbound by the filibuster, because then there would be expectations they'd actually do stuff. And so as of right now, it looks like it's probably not going to happen. And so expect Donald Trump to try to do it unilaterally, although I would assume / hope that won't actually